So the reason we had you on the show today, Jackson, is that we wanted to tell all our listeners about this scholarship calculator that you just created. Want to tell anybody or tell the listeners how that works and what your role was in creating it?
And where they can find it.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. So this scholarship calculator, I try to make it as simple as possible. Basically, what it is I went through all the 509 data so that students don't have to, or so that applicants don't have to, because going through all the 509 data it's a slog. Like, there's a lot of data. You have to kind of figure out, okay, where would I place here? Basically, how the calculator works is it takes the data from all the schools, you put in your own GPA into a text field and your LSAT into a text field, and then it kind of computes, it estimates what your scholarship should be at each of the schools. And then tells you, you can rank them based on what schools you get full ride, what schools you'll get half ride, those kinds of things.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot for people on the show, but I still think there's a lot of confusion around, okay, I see there are some scholarship numbers on here, but how does that translate to my LSAT GPA? And it's not obvious, right? Which is why it is a slog. It's not like a simple, oh, well, here are your numbers, so this is the kind of money you're going to get. You've had to think about what it means for each school, and there's some data that we just also don't even have access to, right? So we're trying to estimate based on the numbers we see on the 509 so that people don't have to.
Yeah, and it is an estimate. But yeah, for each school, basically what I had to do was I had to kind of come up with some sort of calculation based on their index, which they also release, based on their LSAT and GPA, and kind of figure out, based on your LSAT and GPA for each school, how would they weight these two things? And then with that in consideration, where would you rank in their kind of scholarship considerations?
Yeah.
So I think, for the most part, I think it's pretty good. Like, the lower end up to the higher end stuff is pretty good. Where it gets a bit more estimate-y is if you're in that like 95th percentile, and it's like, at this point we don't know we don't know if their 95th percentile at a mid-ranked school is a 166 or a 175.
Yeah.
Right. We just don't know if like there's that big of a jump once you get to the 95th.
Yeah. Because the only numbers we know is the 75th and the 25th and the 50th, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, so one thing is, okay, so just in case users are curious, you can find this at lsatdemon.com/scholarships. Again, that's lsatdemon.com/scholarships. Would you be willing to walk us through a couple examples, like hypothetical students, so that you can kind of say what they would find?
Yeah, for sure. So if we have, the one that I always plug in, just because I feel like it's relatively average, would be something like if you had a 3.5 and a 160, right? So if you have a 3.5 and a 160, you put that in, you hit enter.
I'm doing it right now, Jackson.
So am I. I did it already. The best full ride I can get. Penn State, Carlisle.
And then the schools, so, straight through to the 15th ranked school, you're not getting anything, right?
Yep.
The first school where you might get something is University of Texas, Austin, right? So you'll get, what this is telling you is that you can expect some tuition between 0 and half tuition from University of Texas, Austin. And what I think is, if you see something like this, and it goes down right through, and you eventually do hit, Penn State, Carlisle, you get a full tuition. What I think this tells you is that if this school is giving you anything less, right, like, you should be telling them you are worth more to them than they're treating you. At least to a degree. This obviously doesn't take into consideration soft factors or like other factors beyond numbers, but on average, at a school like University of Texas Austin, they should be giving you some money.
Mhm.
There's a big blue feedback button at the top of the page, and we do really want, it also says beta on it. So this is by no means perfect. We're doing the best we can to estimate. In fact, maybe that's what we need to name this, is like scholarship estimator or something. But please hit the feedback button if you see something that seems strange, or if you can think of ways that we can improve the tool. I think that this could be really useful just to give people an idea, right? So like if you're the 3.5 160, I mean, I would be scrolling down looking for green, basically, right?
Yeah, well, the feature I like is hitting the actual cost column, because we talk about scholarships versus actual costs. You can sort by scholarships and figure out which schools are going to give you the most money, but that's not necessarily the best bargain. I just sorted by actual cost, and it puts Penn, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Rutgers, and Appalachian School of Law right at the top, and they're all green. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yep.
that's cool, Jackson. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else we want to say about the scholarship calculator? I mean, people just need to get in there and play around with it, right? That's the best thing we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Cool.